NHL today, right here on SportsGrid. Mike Carver here with you. Of course, our weekly look around the National Hockey League. We'll get you ready for tonight's game, some stuff for the weekend. And look, the NHL shuts down on Sunday. Sunday's the last day of games for 2 weeks. We'll have the Four Nations face-off, which we're going to talk about a little bit today as well, especially with Dave Sharapan. He joins us every week, and we will get in the mix with him in a little bit. We'll do our final five at the end with some plays for tonight's games in the National Hockey League. Like I said, we're only 3 days of games left. You got tonight, you got a monster slate on Saturday, I believe 14 games, and then you have 2 games on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, and then league shuts down, 2 weeks, Four Nations face-off. Now, I'm going to start today a little different because it is Super Bowl weekend. We are doing lots of Super Bowl stuff, and one of my favorite things that I love to play every year in the Super Bowl is cross-sport props. And the NHL, like I said, has 2 games, Washington, Utah, Tampa Bay, Montreal, going on Sunday before the Eagles and the Chiefs. So we got to give you some cross-sport props on NHL today. Let's go, baby, especially since they just started putting them out. Usually Fridays when they start to roll out the cross-sport stuff. So I have a few for you. Let's do it. First of all, Montreal and Tampa, we said they'll be playing early in the day before the Super Bowl. How about Travis Kelce receptions in the Super Bowl against goals scored in the Tampa-Montreal game? The Kelce's minus 110, the goals are plus 130, and the tie is plus 650. So that's the one tricky thing about these cross-sport props. They throw the tie in there at you, so you got to make sure you either win it or you're going to be out of luck. I actually like the Kelce receptions on this. Sunday is going to be a day, like I said, they're leaving. They're both playing on Saturday. Back-to-back days, people looking to get away for 2 weeks. That could be one where things move along rather quickly. And they might get out of there 2-1, 3-0. That could be a very quick game on Sunday afternoon. So we're going to take the Kelce catches at minus 110 over the goals scored in the Tampa-Montreal game. Next, which will be the greater number? Total touchdowns scored by the Eagles or goals scored by the Capitals against Utah on Sunday afternoon? Caps goals plus 110, Eagles touchdowns plus 135, the tie at plus 425. Going to go with Eagle touchdowns here at plus 135. Same thing. I am fading goals on Sunday in the NHL. I am fading. I'm looking for quick games, guys looking to get out of town, and I think the Eagles are going to score 3 or 4 touchdowns on Sunday. So I'm going to go with the Eagle touchdowns at plus $1.35 for that one. Next one for you. Total touchdowns scored by the Chiefs versus goals scored by the Lightning in the game. Now, Lightning's even money, plus 100. Chiefs touchdowns, plus 140. I think the Eagles, as we've talked about all week on Coast to Coast and everywhere else, I think the Eagles are going to win the game. I don't think it's necessarily going to be an over. So I actually am going to take the Lightning scoring goals at even money over the Chief touchdowns on Sunday. The tie's plus 475 there. Could end 2-2, could end 3-3. Things like that. So keep that in mind as well. Sometimes those the ties are good to take a little flyer, maybe a little quarter unit there at the bottom. Which will be greater? Field goals in the Super Bowl, both teams, or shots on goal by Ovi in the cap game. Field goals plus 120, Ovi shots on goal plus 120, tie plus 450. Field goals for me plus 120. I think defenses are going to be good. Ovi, look, you could get a game, 3 or 4 shots. Some nights, obviously, a little bit more than that. Shots are very difficult. Ovi's been on a little bit of a tear right now. Could get in the 3 to 4 shot range for you. Might actually, when you think about it a little bit more, the Ovi shots seems a little bit better for that one. And they're the same price, plus 120. So we'll go Ovi shots for that. And the last one, Hurts passing attempts versus Vasilevsky saves in the game on Sunday. Now, Vasilevsky plays. I'm sure this will be no good. They'll take this one off the board. But the saves for Vasilevsky, minus 105. Hurts passing attempts, minus 105. The tie at 14-1. Remember, this is a number that's going to push possibly into the mid to high 20s, maybe 30s in terms of the shots on goal. That is why the draw is a little bit tougher to get. It's not like these other ones where there's going to be 2, 3, 4. When you get something like this, pass attempts and shots on goal, going to be very heavy. That's why the tie is such a big number there. I'm actually going to go with the Hurts pass attempts at minus 105 for all those same reasons. Fading offense on Sunday in the NHL. So there you go. It might be Super Bowl week, but there is a hockey tie-in for the big game on Sunday, and that, of course, will be our cross-sport props, which we love to get involved with. All right, quickly, a few things from last night, and then we'll get to tonight's games. Last night, Tampa beat Ottawa 5-1. Tampa getting a couple wins over Ottawa this week, pushes themselves back into third in the Atlantic Division now with 62 points. So good week for them as they get involved. Ottawa, of course, have been red hot before that. Vegas with a 3-1 win at the Rock against the Devils. Vegas had a week-long stay in the New York area. They lost at the Garden. They won at the Garden. They lost at the Horse Track. And then they get the win at the Rock against the Devils. Caps beat the Flyers 4-3. Ovi, 879, gets himself a little bit closer, 16 goals away from Gretzky. And we were just talking about Ovi's shots on goal. He only had 2 in that game last night. 2 shots on goal for Alex Ovechkin in the 4-3 win over the Flyers. 2, 3, 4. Very difficult to try to gauge those things. Utah did beat Columbus 3-2 in overtime. Rare win for somebody out in Columbus against the Jackets. You had the Wild 2-1 over the Hurricanes. So the Wild, going into the break, have now got themselves to 68 points, and they are right there with Dallas, 1 point back at Dallas for second in the Central now after that. Panthers 3-2 win over the Blues. A lot of unders last night in the NHL. Like I said, the tunnel's there. People are seeing it. You got 2 weeks off. It's Bermuda time for a lot of these guys. Cabo time, Bermuda time, wherever they're going to be heading. And you're starting to see that in some of this. Colorado 4-2 over the Flames in Calgary, as they've been doing pretty well out in Western Canada on this trip. Leafs 3-1 over the Kraken last night in Seattle. So late night win for them. And the Canucks got a 2-1 overtime win over the Sharks, as they got a goal from O'Connor, who, of course, they just got from the Penguins last week. So an overtime winner there for Vancouver, as they have got themselves now. Vancouver is in the last wild card spot, 2 points up on Calgary, 6 points up on Utah there. Now, Colorado's in the first at 66, so Vancouver's got a little bit of space there to try to climb up to that second spot. And they've, of course, right there, Vancouver's made a lot of deals. They've tried to acquire every single Pedersen that there is available over the last little while, that's for sure. All right, let's get to tonight. We do have a few games, 5 games this evening in the NHL, and we will start this evening's games with the Penguins and the Rangers. That's going to be at the Garden tonight. Rangers 6-1 in their last 7 games against the Pens. There will be no Sidney Crosby tonight either. Crosby is out for the Penguins, dealing with the lower body injury. He is not going to be in there. Did skate this morning, but he's not going to play. Rangers heavy lumber, though, -2 bills for them right now in that spot. Elsewhere this evening, Nashville into Chicago, 2 of the worst teams in the league so far this year. Nashville laying big lumber, 195. Chicago plus $1.65. Nashville's actually won 9 of their last 10 against the Blackhawks. We will talk about this game in the Final 5 as we have some stuff that we're going to do there. Islanders in Winnipeg in the Great White North tonight. Both teams hot. The Jets have won 7 games in a row. Islanders have won 8 of their last 9. Islanders have been pretty good against Winnipeg the past couple of years. Isles have tons of injuries. Very tough spot for them tonight in Winnipeg against the Jets. And it's a big number there too, -185 for them. Colorado's in Edmonton tonight. We'll talk about that later. We've got some things for you. And the Stars will be in Los Angeles against the Kings this evening. So there you go. We'll talk about more about tonight's games in a little bit. But Four Nations Face-Off gets going next week when the league shuts down. We will talk about that and more with Dave Sharapan. NHL Today on the Grid. We're back right after this.
Let's talk about Philly and Kansas City. They're here again 2 out of the last 3 years. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I'm a big Andy Reid fan, and it's hard to go against what he's been able to accomplish. Okay. That being said, there's a lot of storylines in this game. You know, you look at Saquon and what he's been able to do this year.
Crazy.
It's wild. But if he's able to do what he's done throughout the playoffs, they'll be hard to beat.
Only on SportsGrid.
You want me to solve all this tush-push and fourth down malarkey that goes on with the officials? Here's a crazy idea. Get rid of the worst rule in the NFL, and that is forward progress. How about this? Where I knock your ass on the ground is where the ball goes, period. Let's end this whole conversation. Like, if I drop you back 4 yards, then you lost 4 yards. If we get rid of forward progress, this tush-push and everything else is taken care of. Where I put your tail on the ground is where the ball goes, end of conversation. It's the dumbest rule and the most arbitrary rule. The only thing that is a worse call in the NFL than forward progress is the punt that goes out of bounds when you watch the official walk down the sideline having absolutely no clue where that ball crossed over. All I can think of is that Price is Right game go do-de-do-de-do, do-de-do-de-do, as he's walking down the sideline, arbitrarily trying to figure out where the ball crossed over because he's got no clue.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back, NHL Today, right here on SportsGrid. Mike Carver here with you. Of course, our weekly look around the National Hockey League. We've already given you some stuff for Super Sunday to go along with some hockey games. Let's now give you some stuff, though, for tonight, Friday night, with the Final Five for us. And let's see. We did pretty good last week, by the way. We hit the side. We hit the total. We had one of the power play points. We had a pretty good night last Friday. Let's try to do it again. We'll start with the power play points. As always, here on NHL Today, we've got a three-pack for you. First of all, the Colorado-Edmonton game, both very good power plays. We're going to want to get involved there. I like the Makar number, plus 240 for him tonight to have a power play point. There's been a lot of talk about Connor Bedard this week. Business pond hockey comment, Bedard kind of coming back. This is the type of game tonight, Nashville and Chicago. Well, I think there's going to be a lot of goals, which we'll say in a moment. Connor Bedard, power play point, plus 240 in that game this evening for him. And finally, Islanders' penalty kill has tightened up over the past few weeks during this 8 out of 9 streak. But at the end of the day, there's still not a great penalty kill, and Winnipeg has one of the top power plays in the league. And you're getting Kyle Connor tonight in the twos, plus 210 for a power play point. This is someone who's usually in the 150 to 180 range, but the Islanders have been hot, so that's why they've had that in. We're going to go Connor tonight, plus 210. So power play points for Connor, Cale Makar, Connor Bedard this evening in Friday night's games. Next, goal scorer for us. There you go, one more time. Bang, 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 all in the twos. So we can just get ourselves 2 out of 3 there. We'll be feeling really good. Next, goal scorer for this evening. Who's been red hot? We always like to try to zero in on someone who's been hot. Kevin Fiala of the Kings has been red hot. 2 goals in each of his last 2 games. 5 in his last 5 overall. Plus 200 for him tonight. Yes, will be a low-scoring game with Dallas, but we will go with Fiala. Plus 200, anytime goal scorer. We mentioned 2 goals in each of his last 2 games. Very hot for Fiala. Next, side. Dallas in LA tonight. We know some of the numbers here for the Stars coming into this game. Stars, 4 of their last 5 against LA. They play tons of unders against each other. You're getting the Stars. It's very rare you get Stars at a price like this. Minus 104. We will take them tonight in Los Angeles against the Kings. They're the better team. Lock them down. There you go with that. Over tonight for Nashville and Chicago. Now, this was tough for me. Could have been the over in Nashville, Chicago. Could have been the under in LA and Dallas. I like both of them. For the purpose of the board, we will take the over in Nashville and Chicago. 2 teams that give up tons of goals. They do score some goals as well. Now, they played twice this year, both under this number. 5 in each game, 3-2 finals in both games. We're going to crack the egg tonight and get over the 6.5 with Nashville against the Blackhawks in that game. And leading into our future, for our Final Five is this Four Nations face-off that will begin next week. And I'm going to keep it very simple. I know that it's chalk, but we're going to go with the United States to win the Four Nations face-off at plus 145. Now, United States and Canada are the clear favorites. Sweden and Finland very far behind them in terms of the odds board. But what stands out to me with the United States is that they have the best goaltending all around in this entire thing. You can make a case they have the three best goals in the whole thing with Ottinger and with Hellebuck and with Swayman. And they have a forward roster that can compete with Canada. We still don't know how serious are they going to take this thing. I don't think it's going to have the intensity that the Olympics has. But either way, I think the United States will find a way to get this thing done in the Four Nations tournament. Now, there's a bunch of other stuff that I wanted to get to with the Four Nations, and that is some competition-long markets that they have. One of them, most points, and the other one, the most goals for the Four Nations. Now, most points, Connor McDavid, of course, is the lead. So these are going to have big names at the top of the board. McDavid's plus 750 to have the most points in the Four Nations. McKinnon's 9-1. Austin Matthews 14. Jack Hughes 19. Rantanen at 19. Not going to go with Rantanen. And Barkov with 19. So they have a couple of guys further down. Usually the stars shine in these things. So whether it's McDavid, McKinnon, those are probably the two guys that I would focus on, and it's pretty good numbers. Now remember, if this team makes the finals, you're talking 5 games that they are going to play. 3 games in the round robin, and then they'll do the elimination and go to the Final Four and then the Final 2. So McDavid and Canada's going to be Canada-USA, I believe. It'll be Canada-USA at the end. So those are the two groups of guys that you want to focus in on if you're going to play any of these other ones. Most goals in the tournament, Matthews is the pre-tournament favorite at 9-1. McDavid's 11-1. Reinhart 11-1. Braden Point 11-1. Jack Hughes 13. Hughes is pretty sneaky at 13. I don't mind that at all, especially if you think USA is going to play all 5 games, which I sure do. 13-1 for him, and McKinnon sits in at 14-1 for the most goals in the tournament. And if you want to have even more fun with this, they do give you a couple books, including FanDuel does give you this. You can put in individual players to score X amount of goals. 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals, 4 goals. So, for example, Austin Matthews, 3 goals, let's say, in the entire tournament, plus 350. That's for Team USA. For Canada, 3 goals for McKinnon, plus 330. If there's a guy, there's a couple grinder guys down here, especially on the United States, that I could see scoring some big goals. Let's say you a little Brock Nelson for you, plus 470 to score 2 goals in the entire competition. So that's kind of where I want to be in that, is finding some of those ones. I like the 2-goal market. There's Gensel plus 290 to score twice. So you got a few days till this starts on Wednesday. You can kick yourself off with that. And the first game of this competition is going to be on Wednesday night. It opens Canada against Sweden. Canada's already minus 230. Total's 5.5. So they got some low totals here in these games. United States will play Finland on Thursday night next week. And the United States is minus 360 against the Finns. The Finns have considerably the weakest roster out of the 4 for this Four Nations going forward. So there you go. Next week we will spend a lot more time on this, because it's going to be the only game in town. NHL shutting down after Sunday for 2 full weeks to get this going. All right, NHL Today here with you, Mike Carver. We will come back. We got a lot more to do. We keep rocking with you. NHL Today on the grid. What do we got here? The consigliere, Dave Sharapan, next after this.
best dressed guy, let me tell you, next to me in terms of Radio Row. I want to get your thoughts quickly on the game, Philly and KC. How do you see it playing out?
You know, obviously you got Patrick Mahomes, who just finds a way to win. Then you got on the other side of the table an alien, and Barkley. I mean, he's had an incredible year.
Right.
I think whoever has the balls last is going to win the football game.
Only on SportsGrid.
I have no idea how to categorize what Mavericks GM Nico Harrison pulled off, Joe. All I know is that he shipped off Luka Doncic without telling Luka about it.
If you thought conditioning was a problem for Luka, wait until you get a load of Anthony Davis tripping over air and then missing 40 games because he's like Glass Joe's.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
And we are back, NHL Today, right here on SportsGrid. Mike Carver here with you. Our weekly look around the National Hockey League, which of course is going to shut down after Sunday. 2 weeks, no NHL games as we get ready for the Four Nations face-off. USA, Canada, Finland, Sweden. And that will be taking place through Montreal and Boston over the next couple of weeks. So we have a lot of stuff to look at that as well. Of course, every week here on NHL Today, we talk to our man Dave Sharapan, of course, the sportsbook consigliere, as we get ready for the Super Bowl. And Dave, you know, I don't know if Dave likes these things, but I gave you a couple of these at the beginning of the show. I love the cross-sport props. Now, we find several thousand ways to bet on the Super Bowl. It's a game that has more props and other things that you could do than any other game throughout the year. But Dave, I have a lot of fun with the cross, and I gave a few. Kelsey catches versus goals in the Hab Lightning game. Hurts attempts against Vasilevsky saves in the Lightning game. So there's already a couple hockey ones that have made their way out there that I got involved with. How are you, Dave?
I'm great. That's awesome. I used to do those props. I used to come up with those, and they always would defer the hockey ones to me. And then the basketball ones, the guys would crawl under the table and say, Sharapan, you could do the NBA ones too. Okay, I got it. No problem. That's a good one. That Kelsey one is a good one, Mike. That'll keep us engaged. There's only 2 games on Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's 5 today, which, I mean, let's get our fill of it this weekend because I'm actually excited. I don't know how you feel about this international thing. I am interested to watch it. I don't know if I'm going to bet it, but I know if they play defense and actually take it serious, this is going to be a fun little tournament.
You know, you're right. If they take it serious, it will be fun. And I think the one thing that you look at first, Dave, and this is where I focused on this thing, is in a short format tournament like this, like the Olympics, now this is even smaller, only 4 teams, who's got the best goaltending? You're talking 3 round robin games and then a knockout with 4 teams. So you're playing 5 games, really max in this thing. Who's got the best goaltending? And you can make a case, Dave. The United States, if you took all 3 goalies from all 4 teams, that's 12 goalies, and lined them up, you can make a case the United States has 1, 2, and 3 on the list of every goalie that's there. And Hellebuck, Ottinger, Swayman, I mean, I think that gives them a little bit of an advantage over everybody else.
I think you're right, and I think the odds reflect that. I was out looking for a jersey, and I saw it. I'm not sold yet, Mike, on the USA stuff on the merch, but I think I'm sold on the USA at least being in the final because of the goaltending. So again, all you're trying when you look at that is pick the matchup, and if you can get the price nailed, I don't think Finland has much of a chance. Just glancing at what's going on, and the odds reflect that as well. So. Are we getting it? Is it as easy as just USA and Canada?
I mean, I know it sounds very chalky-ish and cliche, but yeah, I think it is. Like, I don't see how. You're right about Finland. Now, it's not like Finland's got bums here. I mean, they have Barkov, they have Sebastian Aho, they got Hintz, they've got some guys who are good, but they can't roll 4 lines worth of talent. Like
One
Canada and the United States is going to be too. You know, the United States, Dave, I know that Canada doesn't like to hear this. They have caught up in a big way in terms of the type of talent that they produce. And, they have got, I mean, there is going to be a loaded United States team on both the forward and the defensive side, and not just the goalies. I think USA is favored for good reason. I think they're the best team all around, 1 through 20.
Yeah. It's deep. That's the difference, right? The USA is deep. The Canada's deep. Finland has one good line. It looks like Sweden has a little bit more, but you're right. I mean, they're not as big a favorites as the Rangers are today against the Penguins, huh? I mean, I just
2 bills.
2 bills. It's that
2
easy.
bills.
Crosby's hurt. He's not. At least he's skating, but he ain't playing.
Out, though, yeah.
That's a lay down right there. Rangers over the Penguins.
They've beaten them 6 out of 7. Now you've got the Kings jersey on.
Yes, sir.
I will say Dallas 4 out of 5 against the Kings, and I saw between them 6 unders in a row between the Stars and the Kings. The last 6 times they've played. We're going down tonight in LA.
Yeah, that is an under. That's my favorite play in this game. It's a pick'em game as we're doing the show. I don't know if it's going to end up a pick'em. I have a feeling Dallas is going to close the favorite.
Dave, great job as always. Dave Sharapan, the Sports
Go Birds!
Yeah. More 4 Nations next week on NHL Today with you. We're back after this.
Who we pulling for? Who we looking to win this game?
I picked Buffalo over Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, and I was wrong. I'm picking Philly. Philly has the better roster, but Kansas City just knows how to win, especially one-score games. But I think Saquon, like he's been the difference all year, Kansas City has to prove to me they can stop him.
Absolutely.
They can stop him, stop that O-line, and not have Jalen have to throw it 40 times.
Only on SportsGrid.
This is the greatest show ever. It's funny, and you know what I like? You have balls. I mean, the stuff you do on that show, you are half crazy.
You know, I feel like a good sense of humor, and I like to show it off. And this kind of originally started where people were the hot dog eating challenge was something that I always wanted to do every 4th of July, and I was like, I could eat a ton of hot dogs.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid. It's finally here. The big game is just days away, and SportsGrid is live from New Orleans all week long, bringing you the latest news, insights, and analysis from the biggest names in the game. And on game day, we've got you covered all day long with expert picks, live odds, and everything you need to make the most